Hello, theorists! Today we need to talk. We need to have a serious conversation about something that's been buzzing around the internet. A rumor so big it could shake the very foundations of one of gaming's most iconic franchises. I'm talking about Resident Evil, specifically Resident Evil 9. The whispers suggest that this next chapter might not just be another story, another outbreak, another ridiculously oversized monster to fight. No, the theory goes that this could be it. This could be the final curtain call for the characters we've grown up with. We're talking about the legends, the originals, the titans of survival horror. The idea that this could be their last stand is both terrifying and, let's be honest, incredibly exciting to break down. The internet rumor mill has been working overtime, hasn't it? Every snippet of information, every supposed leak, points towards a massive narrative shift. The story circulating is that Capcom wants to use Resident Evil 9 as a definitive conclusion to the sagas of its classic heroes. Think about that for a second. A world without Chris Redfield punching boulders. A future without Leon S. Kennedy and his perfectly maintained hair quipping his way through danger. A reality where Jill Valentine, the original master of unlocking, has finally found her peace. It feels almost impossible to imagine, like trying to picture Mario without his mustache. These characters aren't just part of the story. For many of us, they are the story. So, what does this actually mean? Well, if the theories hold water, Resident Evil 9 is being set up as a monumental event. It's not just another game, it's a finale. A grand, sweeping conclusion, designed to tie up decades of loose ends and character arcs that have spanned multiple console generations. We've followed these heroes from the Spencer Mansion to the streets of Raccoon City, from remote Spanish villages to the swamps of Louisiana. Their journey has been our journey. The prospect of giving them a proper, definitive send-off is a massive undertaking for Capcom, and it carries an immense weight of expectation from a fan base that has invested so much time, emotion, and theory crafting into their lives. This isn't the first time we've seen a series attempt to pass the torch, of course, but with Resident Evil, the stakes feel different, more personal. These aren't just generic action heroes, they are survivors who have been through unimaginable trauma. We've seen them evolve, change, and carry the scars of their past. Chris has become a world-weary soldier burdened by loss, while Leon has transitioned from a rookie cop on his worst first day ever into a seasoned government agent. To say goodbye means acknowledging that their fight has to end, one way or another. And that, my friends, opens up a whole new box of terrifying and fascinating possibilities for what Resident Evil 9 could truly be. Let's be real for a moment. Why do we care so much? They're just characters in a video game, right? Lines of code and polygons. But we all know it's so much more than that. Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, and Leon S. Kennedy are the bedrock of this entire universe. They were our first guides into the world of survival horror. When we first pushed open the doors to the Spencer Mansion with Jill or Chris, we felt that fear alongside them. When we navigated the zombie-infested streets of Raccoon City with Leon, his rookie terror was our terror. These characters are not just avatars, they are our emotional connection to the series, the familiar faces in a world constantly trying to kill us. Think about their individual importance. Chris Redfield represents the unwavering, sometimes obsessive fight against bioterrorism. He is the franchise's soldier, the one who carries the weight of the world on his ridiculously broad shoulders. Then you have Jill Valentine, the ultimate survivor. She overcame the mansion incident, escaped a city being nuked, and broke free from Wesker's mind control. She embodies resilience. And of course, there's Leon. He's the cool, capable agent who brings a touch of calm, collected style to the absolute chaos. Each one represents a different pillar of the Resident Evil experience, and together they form a holy trinity that fans have rallied behind for years. Their stories have defined the very tone of the games they've starred in. The classic, claustrophobic horror of the first game is tied directly to Chris and Jill's vulnerability. The shift to action horror in Resident Evil 4 is inseparable from Leon's newfound confidence and skills. The globe-trotting high-stakes drama of Resident Evil 5 and 6 is pure Chris Redfield. Their personal journeys have mirrored the evolution of the franchise itself, from slow-burn horror to explosive action, and back again. Losing them isn't just losing characters, it's losing the very genres they helped to define within the series. They are walking, talking, zombie-slaying pieces of gaming history. For fans, these characters are like old friends. We've seen them at their best and their worst. We've cheered for their victories and felt the sting of their losses. We have debated their choices, their relationships, and their futures on forums and social media for decades. This deep, long-standing connection is what makes the idea of their departure so impactful. It's a testament to Capcom's character development that we feel this way. They have successfully made these digital people feel real, feel important, and saying goodbye to friends is never ever easy, especially when you've been through so much together. So let's put on our developer hats for a minute and think about this from Capcom's perspective. Why would they do this? Why would they willingly retire their most popular, most bankable characters? The answer, I believe, is about one thing: freedom. As much as we love them, the old guard comes with a lot of narrative baggage. Their power levels are astronomical by this point. How do you create genuine tension and fear when your protagonist is a man who can punch a boulder into submission, or an agent who can backflip his way out of any situation? It becomes a challenge to maintain the survival horror aspect when your heroes are practically superheroes. By concluding their stories, Capcom gives itself a clean slate. It allows them to reset the stakes and return to the core of what made Resident Evil so terrifying in the first place: vulnerability. Think about Ethan Winters from Resident Evil 7 and Village. We connected with him because he was just a normal guy, completely out of his depth. His fear was palpable because he wasn't a special agent, he was just a husband looking for his wife. This approach allows for a different kind of horror, one that is more grounded, personal, and arguably much scarier. Retiring the legends could be a strategic move to ensure the series can continue to genuinely frighten players for years to come. This decision would also represent a massive creative gamble. Resident Evil's identity is deeply intertwined with its legacy characters. Removing them is like a band replacing its lead singer. The music might still be good, but it will never feel quite the same. The tone of the franchise would inevitably shift. It could move away from the epic, world-saving plots and focus more on smaller, more intimate horror stories. This could be incredible, pushing the series into new and exciting territory, but it also risks alienating the portion of the fan base that comes for the action, the lore, and the ongoing soap opera of their favorite heroes' lives. It's a bold choice that could redefine the franchise forever. Ultimately, Capcom's potential decision reflects a desire for longevity. A series cannot rely on the same faces forever without becoming stale or repetitive. There's only so many times Chris can say he has to end this, or Leon can have a really bad day. By passing the torch, they are future-proofing Resident Evil. They are making room for new heroes, new villains, and new types of stories to be told. It's a sign that they believe the world of Resident Evil is bigger than any single character. It's a bold declaration that the true star of the show isn't Leon or Jill, but the horror itself. And that, in its own way, is a very exciting prospect for the future. Now let's get personal. How does this make us feel? For me, and I know for many of you, the feeling is profoundly bittersweet. There is a genuine sadness in the idea of not seeing these characters again. It's the end of an era. It's like finishing a brilliant book series you've been reading for years. You're happy you experienced it, but you're sad there are no more pages to turn. We've invested so much of our time and energy into their journeys. The thought of their stories ending, whether in a blaze of glory or a quiet retirement, feels like saying a real goodbye. It's a strange kind of grief for people who don't actually exist, but it's a valid feeling nonetheless. The fan reaction, I predict, will be a storm of emotions. There will be outcry for sure. People will be angry that their favorites are being shelved. There will be petitions, hashtag campaigns, and endless debates. But underneath that, I think there will also be a sense of acceptance and even hope. If Capcom handles this finale with the respect and care it deserves, giving each character a meaningful and satisfying conclusion, fans will appreciate it. We don't want to see them fade into obscurity or become parodies of themselves. A powerful emotional ending is a far better fate. It would honor their legacy in a way that just letting them disappear wouldn't. This potential change forces us to reflect on what we truly love about Resident Evil. Is it the specific characters, or is it the world they inhabit? Is it the feeling of solving puzzles with limited ammo, the thrill of fighting grotesque monsters, or the intricate lore of viruses and evil corporations? For many, it's a combination of all these things. Losing the classic heroes will undoubtedly change the recipe, but it doesn't have to spoil the meal. It creates an opportunity for us, as fans, to embrace the new, to find new heroes to root for, and to see this familiar world through a fresh pair of terrified eyes. It's a test of our love for the franchise itself. In the end, all good stories must have an ending. Perhaps the greatest tribute Capcom can pay to Leon, Chris and Jill is to give them one. A definitive, emotional, and unforgettable farewell that cements their status as legends of gaming. Their departure would leave a huge hole. But it would also leave behind a powerful legacy that will influence the series for decades to come. It's a scary thought, saying goodbye. But then again, Resident Evil has always been about facing your fears, and maybe, just maybe, the future of the series, a future built on the foundations they laid, is something to be excited about. But that's just a theory.